If I already have a company insurance or insurance from school, do I need to buy a personal insurance? I believe this is a common question many people will have, especially you are new to Singapore or you are unfamiliar with the insurance policy. So what's the difference between group insurance and personal insurance? So for group insurance is normally for company or schools purchase for everyone. It's not for individual. For example, like myself, I cannot purchase group insurance unless my company buys one for me. And this is only for when you are working or studying and it's for medical related expense. For example, in this policy, as you can see, certain criteria you must meet. Must be a full-time staff below certain age. The renewable age also has a limit, and then for dependents, it can be cover your spouse or your children, but must be within the requirement age. So as you can see from the criteria, is only for when you are full-time working. If you are part-time, you might not be covered. And if you are retired or you resign or you graduate, and this policy will also terminate. Means you are no longer covered under this group policy. So what do they actually cover? So for group policy, you can see that normally has three parts. So the first one is hospitalization. So this is a table that tells you what is covered under the group insurance, and you can see they offer you different options for what you want to stay. And for each different hospitalization related stay, there's a different coverage. However, here's a rule. Overall limits for Singapore hospital, so for items 3 to 6, means no matter how much you spend, the overall coverage per year is only about $25,000, which means if you are a foreigner, all medical bills for you in Singapore will be not subsidized, and also there will be not fund, and you also need to pay 9% GST, and then some of the insurance will say GST is not covered. So the $25,000 coverage might not be so high if you need to stay in the hospital for surgery related things. Another thing that's only offered in group insurance is outpatient coverage. So for outpatient coverage, you cannot buy this from personal insurance like your private IP plan, and this has a limit, but this limit would be helpful if you need to see a specialist in the hospital. You get a referral letter from GP or after A&E, and you use this referral letter, then you can claim your fee. As you can see, if you're private, you're holding SP, EP, or student pass, you will be counted as a private patient, and the private patient fee is much higher than the local. And this will be counted towards your $1,000 limit. And this $1,000 will also cover you for any medication or any blood tests or any scans in the hospital. It's not super a lot, but this is something you cannot find in any other personal insurance. So this is a benefit of having a group insurance. Another part is that group insurance will also cover accident. So anything accident related will also give you some support, but depends on how much you need. This may not be enough because anything for follow-up can be quite expensive. So as you can see, the group insurance normally offer you three coverage: hospitalization, outpatient, and accident. But what is covered and how much is covered, you will have to refer back to your insurance policy. So what is the limitations or downsides of a group insurance? So number one is the coverage is limited, is not as high as you would like, and also mostly the coverage is for public hospital. If you would like to visit a private hospital, that means you have to pay part of your bills or not cover. If you resign, retire, or graduate, your protection will be terminated, means you're no longer covered under your group insurance. And if you use your group insurance for any medical related things during your working or studying, These will be counted as a pre-existing condition. So if you have a pre-existing condition, later you want to buy any personal insurance, then the pre-existing condition will likely to be excluded. However, the pre-existing condition rules also applies if you switch companies. So for example, in this insurance policy, you must be working continuously for 12 months under the same company before your pre-existing condition can be covered. And this 12 months rules also applies to international workers. So, for example, if you work for company A for 12 months, then you resign, but you found your next job within 31 days. So, it means you are covered in your new company's policy because this is the continuously 12 months rules. If you only work for your company for 8 months, then you choose to resign. Then you found a job in 31 days. Because it's only 8 months, you need to work for your current company for another 4 months before you can cover your pre-existing condition under the new company's group insurance. If you work for 12 months for your previous company and you resign, but you cannot find a job within 31 days, that means the insurance will start from day one. Means in the new company, you have to work for at least 12 months before you can cover your pre-existing conditions. This is only for the group insurance. If you need to buy any personal hospitalization insurance, may be either excluded or you need to pay more fees for the insurance policy. Now, here's the next question for everyone. If I already have a group insurance, do I need to buy any personal insurance? Now, this will be a question you have to ask yourself is, how long do I plan to stay in Singapore and whether the group insurance coverage is enough for me? Now, because you see above, the group insurance coverage is not a lot. However, to buy any personal insurance can be quite expensive as well, so need to think about whether you really need. If you only come to Singapore for exchange program, like say 1 to 2 years, and you think the coverage is enough, then you don't need to spend extra money for insurance. But if you do plan to stay in Singapore for long term, or you think you would like to visit private hospital, or the coverage limit is not enough, then we will recommend to buy a personal insurance, but this just depends on what you need. So this is an example of private insurance for accident related. As you can see, the accident coverage is much higher than the group insurance and also can offer you optional benefit. And thus you can choose how much you want to be covered and also how much for optional benefit you would like to have. But the more coverage you want, the more expensive the insurance will be. You don't need to rush to buy a personal insurance, and also you don't need to buy up to the maximum coverage. You also need to think about what is the suitable option for you, because the higher the coverage, the more expensive they will be, and the individual insurance will be definitely expensive than the group insurance. So I hope today's video will help you to have a better understanding between group insurance and individual insurance. If you have anything you would like to ask, please leave in the comments.